It's triple Aston Villa, and it's 2 single game week players in my free hit game week 33 draft. Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys all had a good game week 32. I've put together a free hit draft for game week 33. Whether you're on free hit or not this week, this video will be hopefully of interest to you because you can see the players that everyone is targeting. So whether you're making transfers this week or you're looking at your chip strategy, you can see the players that I think we need to be prioritizing. So look, as a state of play, we know the vast majority that still have the chip free hit left are using it in game week 34. About 3 in every 4 of you watching. 11% of you are looking at using a free hit right here, right now. 10% like me have already used it. And there's about 6% that are looking at maybe using it later in the season. There is going to be a double game week in game week 36. Maybe that week or the blank 37 will be of interest. But when we look at the best team for this week, every week, this is a good exercise to do, whether you're on free hit or not. Who are the players that you want to be bringing into your team, right? And guys, by the way, if you are enjoying the show or want to support the channel in any way, thank you so much for hitting that like button, but also subscribing to the channel, and drop a comment if you've got any questions this game week. I'll respond to all comments. So I've put together a 15-man team. It's important we look at the double game week calendar and the fixtures, not just for the teams playing, but in the Premier League, but also when they're playing in the Cup, because 3 of the 4 doubling teams have an FA Cup semi-final, which is really, really important to consider. So 15-man team. We're going to talk about City first because we're going to have triple City in this draft. Of course we are. Now, City have had a free midweek, and it's important to recognise that. They've not had the Champions League distraction of an Aston Villa or an Arsenal. So come Saturday, the 19th of April, they've had a good rest from their last Premier League game last weekend. And you would think the likes of De Bruyne fit, ready to go, okay? They then have quite a short turnaround, though. The trip to Everton is close. That helps. And then it's a home visit of Aston Villa on the Tuesday. Shame it's not a Wednesday. It's that Tuesday fixture that makes me worry about De Bruyne starting both those football matches. I still think there's a good chance he does. But Saturday, Tuesday, not as tasty as Saturday, Wednesday for those buying De Bruyne. But then from Tuesday, there's 5 days till the FA Cup semi-final. They play in the Sunday semi-final, which again is very good for De Bruyne potential owners. Again, if it was Saturday, you'd be more worried. So I think it's a calculated risk with De Bruyne minutes. You could very easily get 2 starts and maybe an early sub. So the fixtures are good for City. They've had no midweek. They're playing well. They're scoring goals. Triple City's a must if you're on free hit. And regardless, I think you should be looking at bringing in Man City players this week. Marmoush, I think, is the obvious captaincy option this week. Loads will look at him or Saka. It's Marmoush, I think, for me and my team. I've also gone with this team, De Bruyne, who might be a player that I buy, and then Gvardiol, who is the defender of choice. Like when we look at the back 4 of City, there's a ton of rotation. Right back has been Rico Lewis last week, Mateus Nunes before that. Diaz and Gvardiol have been the chosen centre-back partnership, but Gvardiol feels the most nailed. And then at left-back, we've seen O'Reilly, who's listed as a midfielder. I think we will see a clean sheet in these 2 fixtures. I expect them to clean versus Everton. Ortega should play in goal over Ederson, who looks like he's injured. But I think we'll see goals. And it's not an easy double game week. Everton and Aston Villa are not 2 easy fixtures, but the way Man City are playing in attack, I expect them to score. I think they'll concede plenty of chances, don't get me wrong. Maybe a clean sheet versus Everton, but they concede to Villa. But I expect goals. And De Bruyne and Marmoush, for me, if you're on free hit, are definitely worth the gamble. Regardless of free hit, guys, De Bruyne is someone I'm looking at bringing into my team, as I mentioned. And Marmoush, I'm likely to captain. Invest in City in the double game week would be my advice. So we've got triple City. Now you're going to look at this team and go, how many has he got from the other teams doubling? Well, let's start with the other team that everyone's going to triple up on. And that is, of course, Arsenal. So Arsenal played Wednesday night in the Champions League. Saka got about 75 minutes. It's what we expected. Ipswich is on Sunday. Recovery time from the Bernabeu to Sunday feels all right. Wednesday, Sunday feels okay. It is another away trip. And then it's Wednesday in the Premier League. The benefit of Arsenal's double game week, right? The negative is they've just gone to the Bernabeu and that the league is, top 5 is wrapped up. The league is gone. But the benefit for people buying is that they don't play after the double. They have game week 34 off. It's a blank game week 34, and Arsenal do not have a semi-final in the FA Cup. So you're asking players like Saka to play Sunday, Wednesday, but then knowing he doesn't need to play for a week, maybe he gets the double. Maybe Arteta goes fairly full strength versus Ipswich as he looks to create momentum and get the team playing together. The team playing together that's the Champions League team, the team that will play against PSG in a couple of weeks' time. You would think Arteta wants rhythm. And with that, you're going to go strong. I think there's a very good chance Saka starts both games. I really do. I think early subs are likely. So how big do we go on Arsenal? Well, Saka is in. And the big question is, do you go double Arsenal attack or double defence? The problem with the other attackers is Odegaard, I think, starts both. And Odegaard is someone I had considered on this team. Martinelli, Trossard, do they get one rest? Very possible. Moreno's a good pick. If budget's an issue, he's cheap, playing up front. But I just think I fancy Arsenal for clean sheets, you know. The Real Madrid games, the XGC, the expected goals conceded, was so good from Arsenal. They are the best defence in the league from the underlying data, not from the actual. Forrester got the most clean sheets and goals conceded. Arsenal have been a little bit sloppy, conceding 1-goal games. 1 goal in a game, like against Brentford. Low XG against them, but they managed to concede. Same against Real Madrid. Saliba mistake, and they go and score the goal. But I expect a clean sheet or 2. I think we get a clean sheet versus Ipswich. I'm not so sure against Palace, but there's a good chance. So Saliba and Raya is a double up for guaranteed minutes. The other 2 to go for. So that's where I'm at. It's double Arsenal defence because I'm back in that clean sheet. And I'm worried about rotation in attack. So it's double City and it's triple City and it's triple Arsenal. There is triple Aston Villa coming up. There might be a surprise with Crystal Palace as well. Let me explain why in just a second. But guys, if you are wanting to support me, I've had this YouTube channel now for 2 years. And I was so late starting a YouTube channel. I wish I'd done it years ago. I've been making content on YouTube, on Scout and other channels for like 6-7 years. Many of you would have watched me on those channels and just assumed like you're subscribed to my own channel, but many aren't. So just check. Don't let the algorithm dictate you. You dictate the algorithm by subscribing channels you like. So just subscribe and hit that notification bell on my channel and support me if you want to. Likewise, drop a comment. I respond to all comments on my videos and do hit that like button to support the stream. Thank you as always for your support. Yeah, we're 2 years young. Right. Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa and Emery threw a bit of a surprise last time out in the Premier League against Southampton. Going into the PSG game, he went full strength. No one saw it coming. Now, Rodgers has produced, like, on my bench, something like a 10, a 9 and a 6 in the last 3 weeks. Yeah, I want those 25 points. I've had them all on my bench. Painful. But Emery's going full strength. Now, they've just played Tuesday in the Champions League. That helps a little bit. Tuesday, Saturday, it is home to Newcastle, and that's a huge game for their top 5. Aston Villa will go full strength. Again, they can't afford to rotate players because they are chasing down a Champions League spot. Just like Newcastle, just like Chelsea, just like Man City, these are the teams, those 4 teams, including Aston Villa and Forest, 5 teams, with European football up for grabs, Champions League up for grabs. They have to get top 5. So they'll go full strength, I think, Saturday and Tuesday. They do have an FA Cup semi-final, but I don't think Emery rests players. I think you might see some early subs. Now, what we know from the attacking lineup is it's really hard to predict. We know Rodgers starts and plays every minute, but Watkins, Rashford, Asensio, they all see a little bit of rotation anyway by default of playing in a team where it's not a absolute, this is my first choice 11. So, in short, I expect Aston Villa to concede in both games, but I expect them to score goals. They have been a very good attack of late, scoring goals against PSG, scored lots 3 last time out against Southampton. They'll score goals versus Newcastle and City, I expect. So I'm happy back in the attack, guys. I just can't tell you who's going to start other than Rodgers. Will it be Rashford? Probably. Will it be Watkins? Probably not. Could it be both of them? Maybe, but unlikely. I think I'm happy going with both, you know. Because it's a double game week, I don't expect 180 minutes from Rashford or Watkins. But if you chuck them both in because you can afford them and Rashford's cheap anyway, why not? Watkins is the one I'd be most unsure about because he's the most expensive and he could get the lowest minutes. But Rodgers and Rashford, Rodgers we don't need to talk about. Rashford is worth the punt. Rashford's flying at the minute. He had such a good game versus PSG, got the early sub. He's going to be good for a start. I would buy Rashford without doubt on free hit. Watkins would be my question mark. If you don't want Watkins because you're worried he'll only get 90 minutes, a 60 and a 30, or 240 or whatever, 120 minutes max, it's a lot of money. You might be able to afford slightly more than him is in Isak in a single game week versus Villa. So I'm not saying Watkins is a shoo-in in this team, but I'd be very tempted on Watkins, and I would definitely go Rashford and Rodgers. So look, that's triple Villa. Do I go Villa defender? Absolutely not. They'll concede in both games. Maybe Martinez for save points, but not Konza for me. So where are your Crystal Palace players, Gianni? They got a double game week. Yes, they've also conceded 9 goals in the last double game week. They're not good at the minute. They also have their biggest game of the season in the FA Cup. And I think Palace look tired. And I think Henry's going to rotate in one of these Premier League games. I don't think we're seeing 2 starts for Mateta against Bournemouth and Arsenal. I think we see 2 starts for Munoz. I don't know if we see 2 starts for Eze and Sarr. Probably do for Eze and not for Sarr. It's just risky. And even if they get starts, they don't look like a team that are going to win games at the minute. They're conceding goals for fun. I'd steer clear of their defence. I'd consider someone like an Eze who could get 2 starts. But that game versus Aston Villa in the FA Cup is without doubt their priority. I think we're going to see mass rotation. They look tired. They've just had a double game week. I'm not sure we're going to see 2 starts for too many FPL assets at Crystal Palace. And with that in mind, no Crystal Palace player. As I say, Eze would be the one I'd consider most for 2 starts and a good FPL option in that Palace team. But I think I'm okay going without both. So with that in mind, it's single game weekers. Liverpool. It's target Leicester. Operation Target Leicester is a thing. It should be a thing. They're the worst team in the league. Now, Trent is back in training, but I can't see him starting yet. He's been out for a while. And also Bradley, they need to know. They need to know if Bradley's going to be their first choice right back next season, or if they go and buy a first choice or buy a backup, they're going to buy a right back. So I think Bradley's good for starts moving forward. Definitely against Leicester. He could have scored last time out. He got 3 bonus last time out. Bradley versus Leicester, and then Mo Salah's a no-brainer. I would consider Jota. I consider Jota in this team as well. The number 9 listed as a midfielder playing versus Leicester. This is just about going big on the doublers though. So I think Salah and Bradley are a good, sensible punt this week. You can go for single game weekers when they play Leicester and when they're the best team in the league. So Salah, Bradley, consider Jota is all I would say. And then the bench, we don't really need to discuss, guys. Let's not talk about the bench because all these guys will play. You can have one good-ish bench option, but with my team value, with this 11, it's a budget bench. So there is Fabianski on there. There's Dunk who will get minutes. Hill and Stewart won't, but it doesn't matter. This is with my team value, which isn't great. You could get Isak in if you've got more team value instead of Watkins. So the players that aren't in this team that I like, Isak, Jota are the big 2, I think. Isak and Jota. Odegaard, if I went double Arsenal attack, even Martinelli. So there's a few there. Marmoush, I think, will be my captain in my actual team, and he would be in my free hit team. Guys, thank you as always for watching. On the way out, drop a comment, like, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you for another video very, very soon. Bye-bye.